Attachments. So obviously most funding applications you apply for, there will be something you have to attach to your application. They can be quite important pieces of information and help the funder determine, obviously, whether your application is going to succeed or not. The one that's very common is letters of support. Make sure your letters of support are really actually a valuable letter of support. What you don't want to do is essentially write the letter of support and give it to 5 friends and ask them to put it on their organisation's letterhead, and you end up with 5 of the same letter, just with different letterhead. There's no value in that, and the funder will just look at that and go, well, they obviously either don't know the project or they don't know the organisation. They've just, ticked a box here. There's no value in that process. So if you're going to be doing letters of support, please make sure you are actually asking people to write a letter that either know your project or event really well and the benefits that it's going to bring to either your group or your community, or that they know your organisation well and can speak to your organisation and your capability to run the event or project. Have a think about, and Kate will talk about this later too, but have a think about if you're applying to a federal funding program, you'd probably want David Littleproud's letter of support as your federal member. But if you were applying for a state grant, you might look to your state member for that letter of support. So just consider who you're asking for that letter of support, and make sure that the content in that letter is actually, really does speak to the benefits and of that project or event. Again, going back to partnerships, as we said earlier, if you are going to be doing this with a partner organisation, make sure that evidence is included in your application, that you've got a partner organisation. And if you've done any consultation, make sure you include some evidence of consultation. Now that can be the minutes of your committee meeting, saying that of the 20 members at the meeting, 19 members approved or were supportive of this project or this event. It could be that you've done a Facebook poll to kind of gauge a little bit of support or ideas in the community. So if you've done a Facebook poll, include obviously that evidence of that consultation. You may have done a Survey Monkey or, so it doesn't have to be complicated consultation necessarily, but just it supports your application and is a valuable attachment. And again, Kate will dive a bit deeper into that in a minute. Obviously, because you've written your project plan or your event plan, you're going to be attaching that, because that's a really good attachment to show that you're organised, you've thought it through really well, you understand why you're doing it, and you've got it all really well thought out. So make sure you include that planning document. Lastly, financial statements. So every funding body will ask for some sort of evidence of your financial capability. It'll either be your audited financial statements or bank statements, for instance. Make sure if it's audited financials, they are your latest audited financials. And make sure you do include that evidence, because the funder has to know that you as a organisation are financially viable and able to carry out what you say you're going to do. So they are important.